Welcome, Case fans. It's me, James Barrett-Sterling, and Hayden Bird, the gaffer, here for a midweek preview as we face Corinthian Casuals on Wednesday night. We're home or away? Away or home? We're the home team this time, definitely. So kick-off 7:45. And gaffer, obviously, before we get into that, we've had two narrow defeats recently. Last Wednesday against Worthing in the League Cup, and then on Saturday against Potters Bar. Are you over the disappointment of those games yet?
Yeah, I think so. Just about. We're still disappointed yesterday, but we've got to dust ourselves down and crack on. Listen, I'm going to be honest, James. We're going through a bit of a difficult period at the moment. We're going through a little bit of a blip. It's nothing more than that. It's not a crisis. It's not a problem. It's a blip that all teams go through during the course of the season. I can go back from when I last made the plus ones with Merstham around, I think it was around this time of year. We couldn't buy a win for about 5 games, but we worked hard. We got through it. We turned it around. We went on to the player final. In my first year here, I think it was September, October, we had a similar situation, but we worked hard. We got through it. Went on to have a great season. Last season, the blip come at the start of the season, but we turned it around, and when the season was curtailed, finished in 4th. And this is our time now. It happens. It's football. No one's going to go through a 9-month season and not have a little bit of a dip. This is our dip. So what we've got to do now, we've got to work really hard, put the hours in. We're doing that. We're together tonight to go over the theories of Wednesday and discuss Saturday. We're training tomorrow, we're playing Wednesday, we're training Thursday. We're working really hard to put the hours in to turn around our mini blip as quickly as possible, but we will turn it around. There's no doubt about it. And let's hope we can start with that on Wednesday night in what's going to be a fiercely competitive local derby, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Could we just have a little bit of feedback about the Potters Bar game? I don't think we got a post-match interview with you after that one, and for fans that might not have seen the game, was it as close as it made the scoreline made it out?
Well, I think there was a few contributory factors in the game. I think the team are struggling a little bit with the pitch. That's no criticism of John. I think John does a brilliant job. John Williams and his team would hugely recommend his company to anybody. But it's been a difficult season. I was speaking to John on Saturday and last week, and we've had no luck. We went for a period where every time we seem to play it pour with rain for both clubs, and the surface is a little bit tricky at the moment because it's really hard. So we've lost a little bit of the levels. We can't do anything about that. And it's normal, by the way. That's not exclusive to Corinthian Casuals pitches. I was speaking to Tony Russell at Lewis yesterday. He's saying exactly the same. All teams that want to pass the ball are finding it more difficult at the moment because the pitches are a little bit hard. They're a little bit bobbly. But listen, this is non-league football, and we have to cope with that. We did struggle with it a little bit Saturday, is to be fair, but that's something that we need to address, and we are addressing. I don't want to speak about the referees too much because the fans even sing a new song about me now with the referees, which is great. But listen, what I can tell you is I saw the game again, and in 3 minutes, there's absolutely no question Kingstonian had a stonewall penalty. Both the referee and the linesman were in perfect view, and watching it again is amazing how that penalty wasn't given. That penalty changes the game. In the first half, Fraser completely took out Reece with a 2-footed lunge. I think if that's on VAR on Match of the Day, everybody agrees that's a red card. Both feet are off the floor. That could have been really quite serious. The decision was a yellow. Listen, I don't want to see Fraser sent off, but he was lucky to stay on the pitch. And I can also tell you, having seen the game again, that Elliot Buchanan's disallowed goal was onside. Now, this really frustrates me, and this is the reason I didn't do the interview. I wanted to, speak to you a couple of days later when I'm calm. I've got my emotions in check. We all know that I had a stadium ban talking about referees anyway. But the referees really need to improve. I want to speak about Hornchurch, when we have camera evidence, film evidence that Elliott scores a perfectly good goal, which is disallowed. Carshalton, I can show absolutely a fact, because we've seen the game on camera, that Reece Morel Williamson was onside for our goal that was disallowed. I think the penalty against us is harsh, to put it mildly. At Merstham, a Merstham player bundles Toby Ball, their keeper, into his own net, yet we get penalised. It's a perfectly good goal. And then we have Saturday. It's tough for me to take, because for myself and the players, whilst everybody says Hayden's always moaning about the referees, when you're working as a football manager, as a coach, as a team, ask any football manager, ask any players, when you're working so hard all week to get the results, and the referee's decisions are so poor, it's really difficult to take. And the way that they're managing the game, I think it is, the Potters Bar goalkeeper decided to time waste from minute 1. He's not booked until minute 85. The Merstham goalkeeper did exactly the same. Listen, I get it. But it really got to be better from the refs. What I will say is, we've got to be better as well. It's unfair to say that we lost because of the referee. Let's add a little bit of balance to it. We lost because Sammy and his team did a great job. They played really well. They scored 2 good goals, one outstanding goal of the month, I'm sure of that. We wasn't at our best. We were out of sorts. We made mistakes. And like I say, we're going through a little bit of a sticky patch at the moment. But we'll work through it. We'll work hard. And as I said earlier on in the interview, we'll turn it around as we always do.
Well, we're all behind you, Gaffer, you know that. Just as a quick aside, it might sound a little bit funny for some Kingstonian fans who might have only been paying half attention, but to hear that Fraser Shaw should have been sent off for 2-footing Reece Morel Williamson in the same game. Obviously, his time with the club was short and sweet, but what happened there with Fraser?
Yeah, it was short and sweet, which is no reflection on Fraser. It is a decision that we both made, to be fair. Fraser come in, I was pleased with his signing. I think he's an excellent left back, and I think he's a really good guy. And having met him and worked with him for a short period of time, I can tell he's a really, really good guy. But his physical condition was a concern. It was a bigger concern than what we all realised when he arrived. So there's lessons to be learnt there on our part, that's for sure. Fraser and I had a conversation after the Enfield game. We had another conversation last Saturday. I think it was last Saturday. What basically happened was Sammy went into Potter's Bar. Sammy knows him from Concord. Sammy can offer him regular football. Fraser needs regular football to get his match fitness at the right levels. And we felt that because of Fabio's physical condition is so unbelievable and Fraser's is a little bit a little bit low, shall we say, it was best for him to go out and play regular football to get the match fitness that he needs that only comes with game time. Added to that, obviously, we put 1 or 2 players into the club. We need to make decisions. It's not a bottomless pit of money here. We need to balance books. And whilst we never intended for Fraser to balance books, it was probably the right thing to help us do so.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll touch on the 2 new signings in a little bit, but let's look forward to some action. As we say, the localist of local derbies this Wednesday night as we play Corinthian Casuals. They got a creditable draw at Bishop Stortford on Saturday, 3-3, the final result. What kind of challenge are we going to expect from those boys?
I think it'll be a really difficult game. I think that James and his management team really do a good job. I think tactically astute, have got a great spirit, have got a great working relationship with the players. That's clear. And I think that they're a very, very difficult opponent. There's no doubt about it. You know, James was a little bit unlucky to lose to Bogner, and I think we all saw his comments on the referee there, where Amadou, God bless him, dropped the ball. That was a game changer for him. He got another really good result in a season of good results for them at Bishop Stortford. And we know Kingstonian v Corinthian Casuals is a fiercely competitive derby. So for me, when we play Corinthian Casuals, it's one of the most difficult games of the season, and that's how we're approaching it.
Of course, for the foreseeable, at least a bit of an end of an era. It'd be the final sort of tenants against landlords game. How do you briefly reflect on that time?
Well, it may not. It may not, because I think that if we both win in the Senior Cup, I think that we'll meet again.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I know they have Tosh Alton, but look, I can only speak of my time at St George's Fields and say everybody's always made me very welcome. I want to give amazing credit to John Williams and his ground staff. I think they do a really difficult job in hugely difficult circumstances to have two senior teams on one pitch in non-league, where, you know, it's not a game, it's not a bottomless pit of money, where they can be there every day working on the pitch, verti-draining every day, working on the pitch. I think in difficult circumstances they do a great job, and I know I've thanked them before, but I'd like to thank them again. And whenever I go to Corinthian Casuals, everybody makes me feel welcome. Great club, great people. You've got Brian, who works really hard for you with the ground maintenance. The guy is a diamond. He can't do enough for you. You have Martin and his team behind the bar, who always make you feel really welcome. And, you know, I know there's rivalry between the fans, which we understand, but from my point of view, I've got nothing but respect for Corinthian Casuals. I think they're a really good team. They're a good club, and they've always worked hard to look after me and my staff and the players when we've been there. So yeah, we move on. Might be the last game, might not, but you know, I'm sure that it'll be a tough fixture. Hopefully it'll be played in the right spirit. Hopefully the rivalry is a friendly rivalry, albeit a rivalry, and it'll be a good game for them.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be as well. Maybe we have a quick squad update. I'm thinking maybe there might be some news primarily at the back. I mean, obviously, maybe Alfie Young might be involved. Jerry came back on Saturday. Nyron and Declan maybe both close to being involved, perhaps.
Declan, I would say, getting closer. Been really frustrating time for Declan, but I reckon could still be a couple of weeks if I'm honest with you. You know, Declan would almost have to do a pre-season now when he comes back. So that's something that we're going to have to manage. Barring half an hour at Royston, I think he's been out probably 3 months or so now. And Nyron, I think, will be fit. We hope he'll be fit. We've really missed Nyron. I mean, what a brilliant player this guy is. He's been fantastic for us. I thought I'd signed a really top winger, and I've signed an even better fullback. So credit to him. Hopefully Nyron will be back and ready to play. Yes, in answer to your question, Alfie will definitely be in the team. Really pleased with Alfie, really pleased with Walter. Walter's currently getting his match fitness. Obviously played now 2 games from November when he finished his season in the Irish, in the League of Ireland Premier Division. But you've spoken to him, you've seen the determination in his eye to do well, and let me tell you, this guy is the best striker that I've ever worked with. He's hugely experienced for such a young man, comes from a great upbringing in Chelsea. He obviously played abroad, he's back in this country now. His movement is outstanding, and it's a real pleasure, my pleasure, to be working with him again.
Yeah, I mean, just a word on the addition of Walter. I wanted to speak about him myself. It's extremely exciting signing. I think I remember him with you at Merstham, particularly that one season where he banged, I think it was like 25 goals, was it, in one season?
Yeah.
He's just, serious talent. Against Worthing last week, I saw that you started him, Daniel Ajakai, Jason Banton, they kind of played as a three. They were mixing it up. They were chopping and changing. Sometimes Daniel and Walter went as a two on occasion. Plus, you've got Elliot to throw in the mix. What food of thought have you got when looking at the options that those four give you up to?
Yeah, I think there are exactly what you say. I think they are really exciting options. I mean, I want to be clear and say Walter coming in doesn't mean that my opinion of Elliot or Daniel has changed. I think that both of those players will be candidates at the end of the season for the Player of the Year awards. They've been tremendous. They're very different, and they've been really important to us. So they're a big part of our future. Walter coming in doesn't change that, but we're approaching the business end of the season now. I think you normally call the business end of the season with 10 league games to go. So we're not there yet, but we're certainly approaching it. But I think that we needed to improve. And I think that Walter will be a great addition to an already powerful, talented forward line. And if we speak about Alfie, because if we speak about Walter, we should speak about Alfie. This is a player that's been on the radar for a long time, defensively very strong, good in the air, excellent in the tackle, very competitive, but a real technician at the back who is a great player with the ball. So right up my street, and I think that he's going to be very important to us.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to a clean sheet and a goal for Walter so that they can both get their plaudits after Wednesday night. That'd be great. Just very briefly, Gaffer, if you could touch on the Horsham game next Saturday. It's been nip and tuck against them, played them 3 times already this season. What challenges do you think we'll face when we go down there?
Well, we know Horsham well. They know us well, that's for sure. It's about time we went to Horsham and we won. We've lost 2 games there in the FA Cup over the last 2 years, narrowly. Horsham are a team that I thought would be really up there. I think maybe their run in the FA Cup prevented them from being higher in the division. I've experienced that myself. And, if you have such an amazing cup run as they had, it can be difficult to maintain that league form. Certainly when I was in Merstham and we played Oxford United, that definitely happened. The league form suffered from the romance of the FA Cup, so to speak. Thankfully, not so much when we played Macclesfield, because I think we'd learnt a little bit more of how to handle the situation. But Horsham are a team of good players. They're players that we know well. There are players that have obviously been in our club and served our club well. And, I think that they're a strong squad that can beat anybody. So it will be a tough game. There's no doubt. But they're all tough now. We say Horsham's a tough game. You would say that the game's coming up. I think after Horsham, I think is Worthing. There's another tough game. But they're all tough. And Potter's Bar showed us that Saturday. In this level of football, there are no givens. Bishop Stortford drew with Leatherhead, I think, previous week. So you would think on the basis of league position, Bishop Stortford would go to Leatherhead and they would win by a couple of goals probably. It's not like that. I think that it's fine margins in this league, whether you play the bottom of the league, whether you play the top of the league, the games are really difficult. So Wednesday's difficult, Saturday's difficult, next week is difficult, every game is difficult. What we've got to do is we've got to work really hard. Like I said earlier, we've gone through a bit of a difficult period. I'm calm with it. Been here a million times before. In my 20 years as a football manager, I've had 20 of these occasions. There's a stage in the season where the ball isn't quite rolling for you. Players have lost a little bit of form. The team are struggling, a little bit of lack of confidence, but we always get through it. We'll turn it round. There's nothing to worry about. You know, we're looking forward. We're embracing the challenge. Hugely excited about local derby on Wednesday, and you know, we're in the mix. I think that there are 7-8 clubs that can do this. You know, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. Kingstonian, Carshalton, Cheshunt. I think there's 7, 8, 9 clubs still in this, but there's definitely the fact that Kingstonian are still in it. It's one of our games in hand over some of those clubs on Wednesday. So if we can win that game in hand, we are really, really in the mix again. There's players in the dressing room that have been in this situation before. I've been in this situation before. We will go into the business end of the season calm, focused, knowing that we've got a job to do and knowing that we've been there before. So we're optimistic that this is going to be a great season for Kingstonian.
It is really exciting. If you think, you know, if you take Worthing out of the equation, even though they're not completely, you know, so far ahead that they're uncatchable, the 2 wins from our position will put us in the top 3.
That's right. You know, I think that Worthing are favourites to win the league. Adam does a great job. I mean, he's done a fantastic job, and the infrastructure at Worthing is really strong, and you're seeing that. You're seeing that with the young players that are coming through that infrastructure. And I think Worthing will be promoted, and I think when they're promoted, I think they'll do really well in the national South. I can see their team already being a top 7, 8 team in the National South. If Worthing went from being promoted to making playoffs in the National South, it wouldn't surprise me, because I think that they're that good. I really do. So they're favourites. Enfield are on their tails. There's clubs on the tails of Enfield. You've got Enfield with Andy. You've got Tony and Lewis. You've got Stephen Bishop Stortford. You know, that Folkestone and Neil. We're in there. Big Pete's in there with Carshalton. You've got Mark and Hornchurch. Really experienced people, really experienced management, really experienced team, and everybody's in the mix. This is going to be the most exciting business end of the season that I can ever remember, I think. And I'm going to back Kingstonian to get over that line.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough, because someone is going to be hugely disappointed. And the supporters of Kingstonian will know that our last game of the season is Margate, and they will remember under Alan Dowson, they had a nightmare at Margate. In the last day of the season, they had to win to get into the playoffs. They were 3-0 up, and they drew 3-0 and missed out by the narrowest of margins. I'm not going to let that happen to me. I've been in a similar situation with that with Merstham. We went to Worthing on the last day of the season. We had to beat Worthing to get into the playoffs. If we drew, Worthing were in the playoffs. If Worthing won, they were in the playoffs. If Merstham won, we were in the playoffs. We won 4-2. Walter scored 2 amazing goals, and we got there. That's what we're looking to try to do again.
Absolutely, absolutely. If I may, just I'll remind myself that when Carshalton got to the playoff semi-finals a couple of seasons ago, you were in charge of Merstham, and Walter and Kashani Samuel scored the 2 goals to knock us out. So now we're all Kingstonian. I'm hoping that we're going to be the ones that cross the line this time. So that'd be good.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
Just one last
Absolutely
question,
right.
about Jamie Howard departure. It took me by surprise. I just saw the news story when it broke last week. Thoughts on that, reflections on that, and obviously wishing him well, of course.
Oh, we're definitely wishing well. You know, I speak to Jamie most days. He's a really good friend. As I said in the press release, Jamie's based in Sussex. His business is based in Sussex. He's got an amazing relationship with Bognor, having managed Bognor. And you know, when he comes to Kingstonian, I promised him if a Sussex job come up, we would let him go. So when Jack phoned me, we were disappointed, but we were pleased for Jamie, really pleased for Jamie. But, you know, as much as we will miss him, I don't think that there's any great concerns. You know, I don't want to dilute what Jamie did here, because he did a really, you know, amazing job. But there's great staff around me. We're in talks at the moment with Tutu. Tutu's keen to come back and fill the bridge. I think that will be a great addition. I'm hoping that we'll get that over the line. And I think we're in a good place. It's disappointing, the last couple of results. I think people will read too much into that if they say, "Oh, Jamie's left and we've lost 2 games of football." I don't think even Jamie would collaborate those two together. But listen, I'll miss him because he's a friend, and I'll miss him because he was brilliant for Kingstonian. But we have great staff in Kingstonian. We'd love to add Tutu back into that group, and we wish Jamie well, and we'll move forward together.
All right, well, we'll keep tabs on the Tutu story as it develops in that case. Just very quickly, you mentioned Macclesfield, and it just put me in mind of Boreham Wood last night, beating Bournemouth and getting to the 5th round of the FA Cup. Fabulous scenes, must have brought back some memories when you saw the result, but that's great for non-league football in general as well.
Oh, it's brilliant for non-league football. I like Boreham Wood. I think Boreham Wood are a really good club. I don't know the guys there particularly well. I don't know Luke particularly well. When I was the manager of Bromley, we went to Boreham Wood, won 5-3 on a Tuesday night, and it was pouring down with rain. I think Luke might have even been playing for Boreham Wood that day. If my memory serves me right, Ian was the manager. Another really nice guy, Ian Allenson. But it was a really good club then. And they've gone from strength to strength. No surprise, really good people. And I was so delighted for them. What an amazing football result. What an amazing job everybody at Boreham Wood's doing. So I think the whole of non-league football would congratulate them and thank them for flying the flag for us, and really pleased for them.
Absolutely. If the broadcasters have got their heads on it, the game at Everton will be on the telly at some point. We can all tune in and cheer them on, which would be great. Gaffer, thanks very much for your time as always. Case fans, Corinthian Casuals at home, 7:45 this Wednesday, and then away trip to Horsham, 3 o'clock on Saturday as well. KTV, sponsored by Bright Light Windows and Doors. Gaffer, thanks for your time, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. You're welcome.